Every great success story begins with failure. Every great leader, inventor, or artist has stumbled, fallen, and made mistakes that could have easily broken them. But what made them great was not perfection. It was their ability to learn, adapt, and rise again. Mistakes are not signs of weakness. They are proof that we are trying, learning, and growing. In fact, the greatest discoveries and achievements in human history have often come from mistakes that were embraced, not avoided. Let me share a story with you. A story about a young boy named Arav, who learned that mistakes are not the end of the road, but rather the beginning of a new journey. Arav was a bright and curious boy who loved building things. From the time he was little, he would take apart broken toys and try to fix them. His dream was to become an engineer and build something that would help people. In school, he was known as the idea boy. Whenever the teacher gave a project, Arav's ideas were always unique, sometimes brilliant, sometimes a little too ambitious. He wasn't afraid to try new things, but he was also impatient. One day, his school announced a science fair competition, and the theme was Innovation for a Better Tomorrow. Arav decided to build a mini water purifier using simple materials. His goal was to make something affordable for people in rural areas who didn't have access to clean drinking water. He worked for weeks, sketching, experimenting, and adjusting. But every time he tested his purifier, it leaked, broke, or simply didn't work. His friends laughed, and some teachers told him to choose an easier project. But Arav refused to give up. Still, the night before the competition, disaster struck. His purifier stopped working completely. He sat on the floor of his small room, surrounded by wires, bottles, and wet notebooks, feeling like a failure. Arav's grandfather found him there, defeated and frustrated. He sat beside him quietly for a moment, then smiled and said, "Do you know, Arav, when Thomas Edison was asked how he felt after failing 1,000 times while trying to make the light bulb, he said, 'I didn't fail 1,000 times. The light bulb was an invention with 1,000 steps.'" Arav looked up, confused. "But Dadaji, I've tried so many times, and it still doesn't work." His grandfather put a hand on his shoulder. "Every mistake teaches you something. You didn't fail. You discovered one more way that doesn't work. And that knowledge brings you closer to the way that will work." Those words struck a chord in Arav's heart. He took a deep breath, wiped his tears, and started again. This time, he didn't rush. He observed carefully where he went wrong. He realized the filter materials he used were blocking water flow. He replaced them with layers of sand and activated charcoal, materials he had read about but never tried. It wasn't perfect, but when he tested it, the water came out clearer than before. The next day at the science fair, Arav's project still wasn't flawless. The purifier worked, but slowly, the water came out drop by drop. When judges visited his booth, he explained his process honestly, how many times he failed, what he learned from each mistake, and how each error taught him something new about filtration. The judges listened carefully. They didn't seem impressed at first, until Arav said something unexpected. "My project may not be perfect, but every drop of clean water that comes out of it is a drop that represents one of my mistakes. Without those mistakes, this wouldn't exist at all." That line won their hearts. Arav didn't win first prize, but he received a special award for innovation and persistence. More importantly, he received something far greater, confidence in the power of his mistakes. Years passed. Arav grew up, went to college, and studied environmental engineering. His passion for creating affordable water solutions never faded, but life wasn't easy. His first few startup ideas failed. Investors rejected his plans. He faced technical challenges that seemed impossible to solve. Each time, he remembered his grandfather's words. Every mistake teaches you something. One day, while working late in his small lab, Arav accidentally mixed two materials in the wrong proportion. Instead of failing, something unexpected happened. The mixture produced a new type of biofilter that could clean water faster and more efficiently than before. He patented the technology and launched his own company, Pure Drop Solutions. Within a few years, his invention was used in villages and disaster-stricken areas to provide clean drinking water to thousands of people. When he was invited to speak at a global conference, Arav stood on the stage, looked at the audience, and said, "I built my success on a foundation of broken experiments and failed ideas. Every mistake I made was a step toward this moment." Arav's story teaches us something powerful, that mistakes are not obstacles but opportunities. Each time we fail, we gain insight, experience, and resilience. The people who achieve greatness are not the ones who never fall. They are the ones who learn to rise every time they do. Let's look at some real-world examples. Thomas Edison failed over 1,000 times before inventing the light bulb. J.K. Rowling was rejected by 12 publishers before Harry Potter was finally accepted. Michael Jordan missed more than 9,000 shots in his basketball career and said, "I have failed over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed." Each of these individuals transformed their mistakes into lessons. They didn't let fear fear of failure stop them. Instead, they used failure as fuel for growth. Here are a few key lessons we can learn from Arav's journey and from our own experiences. No one is perfect. Everyone makes mistakes. Students, teachers, leaders, even geniuses. Accepting this truth removes the fear of failure and opens the door to learning. After every failure, ask yourself, what went wrong? What can I do differently next time? What lesson can I take from this? This reflection turns failure into progress, because they're afraid of what others will say. But remember, people who laugh at your failures today will often applaud your success tomorrow. Persistence is key. Success doesn't happen overnight. Every step, even a wrong one, takes you closer to your goal. Each small improvement is worth celebrating. Progress means you're learning and growing. When you start seeing mistakes as teachers instead of enemies, something inside you changes. You become more courageous, more creative, and more compassionate, both toward yourself and others. You stop being afraid of trying new things because you understand that even if you fail, you'll learn something valuable. You begin to realize that success is not about never falling, it's about rising every time you fall. Conclusion. So the next time you make a mistake, don't be ashamed, don't give up, and don't hide it. Instead, embrace it. Remember Arav, sitting among broken parts and failed experiments, who chose to keep trying. Remember Edison, Rowling, Jordan, and every person who turned their mistakes into masterpieces. Each mistake is a stepping stone, not a stumbling block. Each failure is a chapter in your success story. Life will test you, challenge you, and sometimes break you. But if you keep learning, keep growing, and keep believing, every wrong turn will eventually lead you to the right destination. So, embrace your mistakes. They are not signs of defeat. They are signs that you are becoming stronger, wiser, and closer to your dreams.